Daniel Shrigley, America's survival song. Daniel Shrigley, America's survival song. Daniel Shrigley, surviving against the odds. Daniel Shrigley, America's survival song. America's survival song. America's survival song. America's survival song. Survive this.
Hey, this is Dan Shrigley. Today's show is going to be about primitive fire crafting skills. We're talking about the hand drill, the bow drill, and the fire plow. So get your pen and notepad ready because I'm going to tell you some of the secrets that only the experts know that's going to help save you time and energy and effectively get you a fire started using primitive methods in the most effective and time-saving way. So stay tuned as you learn primitive fire making skills with Dan Shrigley, your host of Survival Trek Escape Talk Radio. Hey, this is Dan Shrigley. Today we're going to talk about how to make fire with sticks, primitive style. Alright, some of the things that you need to know when it comes to making fire using primitive methods is one, understanding the science behind it. Now, this is primitive science, alright? This is Aboriginal, this is Native American, this is old technology, alright? So it shouldn't be too complicated for someone of the modern age to catch on to it, alright? So, first thing is understanding the science behind it. You have to have oxygen, surface area, and friction, okay? When you combine fuel, which is the wood, when you combine fuel, surface area, oxygen, and friction, you create fire, alright? Or at the minimum, you're going to get a burning ember, okay? And so by doing this, you can use the hand drill, which is a lot more harder to do than doing the bow drill. All right, but the bow drill is you basically are using it's the next step up. It's a mechanical tool, and that spins the spindle at a much faster rate, creating more friction in less time. And that will effectively create a burning ember a lot more effectively and a lot less blisters on your palms. So the other thing is the fire plow. It's just as much of a workout as doing the hand drill, but usually you can get the fire started in a little bit less time than the hand drill because you're creating a friction using a different method, but you are going back and forth quite a bit. And so when it comes down to what's really most effective about the skill of getting fire started using primitive method is material. You definitely want to use dry material, and you know you're not going to get dry material off the bottom of the floor of the forest or the woods or wherever you might be in the desert, and you find some dry tinder there. But you know it's not going to be on the floor. All right, you always want to look 4 feet or above, and look for things that are dry there versus what's on the ground. Because if it's rained or it's been there's been dew, condensation, that can saturate that wood And there's other ways. I mean, if you have no option, you could pick it up off the ground, and then you want to store it next to your body, or you want to, if you happen to have a pre-existing flame going, you want to dry your wood out the best way you can using your creative imagination. And you'll notice that's a trend with survival is your creative imagination. I have a few mottos. One of my mottos is be prepared, stay alive, and thrive. Another one is in survival, failure is not an option. And then I have another one that is no more, need less. All right, and that is the motto I usually use when we're talking about things that relate to minimalists. All right, and so with fire, I consider that a minimalist skill, especially when you're not using technology like ferro rods and things like fire strikers. All right. When you are using what's available to you only in nature, you got to know kind of what the materials you're going to use provided by nature and what is related to them scientifically. Like on certain types of woods, you'll know that there's a combustion rate which is much lower than other types of woods. Knowing hardwoods and softwoods and knowing how to combine them to effectively create in whatever region or environment you're at, or trying to sustain starting a fire. It might be for practice, training, learning the skills, learning the technique, or it could be for real life, trying to save yourself, and everything that you have is dependent upon you getting that ember started and transferring that ember over to your combustible pile, and therefore getting your fire started that way. So the big thing is having the material and then developing and working on technique. I can start a fire using primitive methods in about a minute to 2 minutes tops, okay? And the reason I can do that is because I practice. That's the secret. It's no secret. Practice, okay? If you practice and you can learn with different materials, then, that's going to be better for you. Now, I practice all the time and make sure that I know not only knowledge, but I put my hands-on skills and actually lay hands on doing something in the physical realm and starting fires and things like that with each of the methods. So that way, when I'm teaching, I'm effective. When I'm teaching, I'm quick. When I'm teaching, I'm a subject matter expert. You see what I'm saying? So it's really important to know exactly what you're trying to teach other people and be the best that you can be at it, so that way they see that. So when you're that good at starting fire using primitive methods, then you have no problem with using other methods. Now I'll let you know this. If I had a big lighter on me and I was out in the wilderness and I was truly lost, which probably would never happen, but if I was truly lost, I would probably use primitive methods and save that lighter for convenience. For a cloudy day, rainy day, for a not so awesome situation were to occur. But while situations were great, I would start my fire using primitive methods and save my technology for if I really needed it out of convenience, and use that as a protected resource. Kind of like if I could go fishing and not using fishing line, even though I have fishing line, but if I didn't need to use it and I can use a different way, I would use the primitive method first and save the technology for when times become tough. You never know, so, but with fire starting, it's really important to be patient with it. You're not going to force it, okay? You want to start out going rhythmic, and you want to start out going smooth. Just like in the Army, just like in the military, in every high-speed combat branch that I ever know of, and I've been combat, is fast is smooth, and smooth is fast. All right? Being in a rush, trying to be high-speed, and forgetting things makes you not high-speed, okay? And things are forgotten. Missing key points. Just a lot of things. So, smooth is fast, fast is smooth, okay? Or sometimes slow is fast, and uh, and smooth. You see what I'm saying? So if you could wrap your mind around it, then you'll kind of catch on that when you're doing a fire, rhythmatic, slow is fast, smooth is fast. All right, taking your time, getting your mode, getting your technique down, kind of figuring out what feels right to you and what's producing the quickest result. Keeping that spindle straight up and down with downward pressure on it and trying to master that at the same time spinning the spindle using your other hand and then holding your base plate down so that way the spindle's spinning inside the socket and the base plate's not jerking around either. So using your foot to put pressure, downward pressure, to lock it down, and all at the same time you got a few things in motion going on, and you're trying to work that. Now that's for the bow drill. The hand drill is not much different because now you're working two hands spinning on a spindle, all right, all the way down into the base plate, and you're holding it with one foot, okay. So you're still doing the same methodology, all right, and then you have the fire plow, and your fire plow you've gotten three components that you got your base plate, all right. Then you got your catch, and then you got the top part that you're sliding back and forth, creating the friction with, and all at the same time you're trying to create a burning ember. And the best material I've ever discovered to use for using a fire plow is always bamboo, very dry bamboo. Okay, but when you're trying to do fire crafting with either of the three methods that are primitive, you want to do it where in training, in practice, you want to do it where you are focused on the technique and mastering it down. Now, it might take you 6 hours. You might never get the fire started your first few times. It might not ever happen. But that's why it takes practice. It takes training yourself. It takes getting inside the mindset, the concept of it, and really feeling the science behind it. And once you realize that friction, oxygen, fuel, and all these components that relate to what you're trying to achieve, which is a burning ember, come together and married in a very balanced, perfect way. Then you'll start seeing smoke, and then you don't stop. That's when you drive a little bit harder, and then you create that burning ember, that sawdust. So that's what's happening is the base is being drilled into by the spindle, and it's creating dust. Okay, as it's drilling down into it, it's creating this dust, and it's creating friction heat, and it's doing it in such a fashion that that dust is now, catching flame, and it's becoming a burning ember, and then you are supposed to transfer that burning ember over to your tinder pile. And then you effectively give it some oxygen, and it's supposed to ignite. Perfect conditions, okay? Some people have spent time drilling into their base plate with their spindle and only got dust. The second they stop spinning it, it goes away. I'll tell you what's happening here, all right? If you're not catching a flame or a burning ember, and the second you stop, doing the friction side of things, spinning that spindle, and then the smoke stops, and you're like, God, it was just smoking. How come I can't get your burning ember? Well, the problem is you're not giving it enough oxygen, all right? Remember, guys, everything's an ingredient. It takes certain ingredients to create this, in this perfect balance, to create this friction fire, all right? That's what primitive style fire starting is. It's friction fire, okay? It's real easy. But as you're creating this friction fire, it's really important to keep it oxygenated. All right, and then once you have it oxygenated, it's going to be able to be transferred over, and then you blow on it just a little bit more into your tinder pile, and the next thing you know, you have fire. Okay. Some people, they just can't wrap their mind around it, and I'm going to let you know, in a real life situation, that is not the time to learn a primitive skill. That is not the time to learn a primitive skill. You should know these skills. If you're going to go out there and use them and rely on them, you should practice them ahead of time. One, it's fun, all right? And two, there's too many places to go get training. Like this weekend, on the 24th here in Killeen, Texas. I'll be teaching a class with the Bell County Wilderness Survival Group. And you can find the Bell County Wilderness Survival Group at www.meetup.com/Bell-County-Wilderness-Survival-Group. And you can join that and become a member. But I will be also giving my email address, which is Dan_Shrigley, Shrigley, @yahoo.com. And you can send me an email, and I will reply back. But I'm going to be doing fire crafting classes this coming up weekend, and I think we're slated to do a makeup the follow-on weekend too. Now, I don't think it's been updated on the web platform just yet, but it will be here in a matter of a few days, 2 days I think. We'll have it up there. But if you're interested in learning, these classes come around frequently. They can even be scheduled on request. So if we have 5 requests for this class or more, and you're going to be in attendance and RSVP, I think for just firecrafting class, we're not talking every other topic of discussion, just the firecrafting class in and of itself, which is a 3-hour class, then that's $25 a head. Very affordable, but that's the only topic that we're going to discuss on that class that day for that 3-hour block of period. And it gives you a little bit of a taste test, because if you can walk into a class and walk out, you walk in never knowing the critical skills, and you walk away knowing them and having done it, and you're like, yeah, man, I just started a fire by rubbing sticks together. I got a great teacher. You're going to be highly motivated and dedicated to want to get back with that teacher and learn all the other cool stuff that that teacher knows. I'm one of the teachers. I have one of my best friends, a very dear best friend. His name's Travis Johnson, and he runs an awesome school called the Northwest Survival School out of Spokane, Washington. And he's going to be coming down and joining in and doing some instruction with me and some of the group members and things like that to offer a different take on stuff. It's always good to bring guest instructors, especially celebrity guest instructors. People that are well known in the industry. Everybody that's been around me knows what I know. So, I've showed them not everything in my, my repertoire, but I've showed them a lot. To be a really good teacher, it's all about sharing. And what you might not be an expert at, it's always smart to bring other people that are experts. I like to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. If you ever stop doing that and you become the person that knows it all, you pretty much are done. Your career's over. All right. So I like to always be around people that I feel know more than I know, and that way I'm always learning something really cool, and then I can turn around and share that with other people. So the same with survival. Okay. If you get to the point where you just know it all, you're done. You're done. And that's not fun for anybody to be around a know-it-all. I learn from kids. I learn from people of all ages, all walks of life. I'm always learning really cool tricks of the trade and survival tricks. And that's what makes me so good at what I do. I learn it, I remember it, and then I love to share. And I also like to give credit to people that show me cool stuff. Like Travis Johnson, I was talking to him about, hey man, what's a good way to teach students how to make a spindle. Now I go out and I look for spindles, natural spindles, from rocks, create, or not spindles, but sockets. But I like to create my sockets. And he's like, well, try a shot glass. Believe it or not, it's really easy. And I was like, that's a good idea. So I actually tried Travis Johnson's shot glass theory for using as a socket for spinning a spindle. And it was a great idea. And wow, it's a very effective way, especially when someone's struggling, So just keep a couple extra shot glasses around, and that spindle will spin really nice and free and smooth inside there, and it's really neat. But I like to go out and go to the river and pick up socket rocks, and use that to spin my spindles inside of and stuff. And then we also build firecrafting kits. They're $24 a kit. It includes a socket rock and the spindle and the base plate. And that's pretty much everything you're going to need and then we'll have some instructions on actually how to work it, in writing. But like I say, there's no instruction like hands-on instruction. So you can read all you want, you can watch videos all you want. But sometimes people need more than just reading and videos. Actually need hands-on instruction, especially when it comes to critical skills, life-saving skills. You definitely don't want to just trust a video and call that good to go, because you might be missing something that wasn't showed. You got to remember, people, when people do videos and they write books, they don't give 100% of all their secrets. They always leave something out. Because if they gave you 100%, then you wouldn't need them no more. You see what I'm saying? So you effectively need some hands-on instruction at some point in time. There's also comprehension. So sometimes people can't comprehend as well as they could if they had someone there actually showing them how to do it. Hold it this way, hold it that way. Try pushing. Use your knee. Put your knee right here and rest your hand right here. That'll give you more downward pressure, creating more friction, but yet the spindle will still spin, and just little tricks of the trade. And so with fire crafting and any other thing, it's pretty much common sense. You guys know pretty much that, yeah, it's common sense that everybody knows you can start fire by rubbing sticks together, right? But it goes beyond that. It goes to technique. It goes to the elements, creating the perfect elements, the perfect balance. And that's what I wanted to have this show about, is talking about those perfect elements and that perfect balance, and creating the perfect fuel, and knowing the combustion rate of different types of woods. It's always best to use wood that has a lower combustion rate than a higher combustion rate. All right. I always like to use a hardwood for a spindle and a softwood for my base plate. That's my preference. Okay, but you don't have to do that. You can use 2 hardwoods or 2 softwoods. It's totally up to you. It's just my style. That's what I prefer. I like that. It was what works for me. But that's style. Okay, that's not mandatory. Okay, but you could also effectively go to the lumber store or the outdoor supply store in your hometown and go walk around and go buy you a prefab spindle and a prefab base plate and go and try that. The wood's dry. You know if you're getting a softwood and a hardwood, and then try that out in practice. And then after you get good at that in practice, then go out and scout you out natural, something from nature, something with some bark on it, all right? And split that wood and create a base plate, okay? And get that spindle and leave the bark on the spindle. It makes it a lot easier to spin the catch and for the rope that's on the bow to catch onto it, okay? And you don't want your bow super tight. You want it just tight enough to wrap around your spindle at least once or twice. I like to wrap my spindle personally twice, but once or twice. You don't need to do it 3 times, okay? But you want it loose enough in a non-slip knot around the bow, so at the ends of the bow, so that way you can fit that spindle in there and then effectively spin that back and forth and use it and create that drilling method, because you're drilling it down into the wood, okay? And that's where the friction fire comes from. So I guess one of the things that you're really going to need to know about friction fire is trial and error. And that's going to mean you're going to have to get out there and put this to the test. All right, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. You have my radio show talking about it. And you can always write me an email at dan_Shrigley@yahoo.com, and I will respond back. And I will give you a pointer if you ask for, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. What would you recommend I do? Or shoot me a message on Facebook, or shoot me a message on Twitter, and then I will reply back. Okay, I might reply in private, or I might just reply in general to put out the information. But either way, I promise you I will reply if you write me, either Twitter, Facebook, or by email. Okay, so if you are really struggling with firecrafting, I suggest go to a local survival school. I would love to have you come to mine. Travis Johnson would love to have you go to his. Mine's the Bell County Wilderness Survival Group out of Killeen, Texas. Travis Johnson's is Northwest Survival School out of Spokane, Washington. And if you're just too far away from either one of us, there's a local school somewhere, and just check your regional area and go get with your local school. It's when it comes to saving your life and knowing the skills, we don't care where you go to get it. Of course, we prefer you to come to us, but we just care that you learn it, and you learn it from someone that's credible. So be leery of the people that aren't accredited, and you can tell if they're not accredited by their affiliations. I would let you know that I became a celebrity in survival way before I got accredited. Okay, but I got accredited through Travis Johnson's school, Northwest Survival School, by affiliations, and definitely proven that I know my stuff. So you got to just be leery. Make sure that when you go to a place that it's someone that lives and breathes the stuff. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to get with someone that's, not living and breathing it. They're not going to be as serious about it as someone that is living and breathing it. And you're going to learn more from someone that lives and breathes it. Travis Johnson lives and breathes survival. Dan Shrigley lives and breathes survival. All right? And everybody that's attached to my show that's a field producer lives and breathes survival. All right? And even my graphics guy, Chris Porters, a.k.a. Betis, he lives and breathes survival. And so does Craig Somerville. All right? All these guys live and breathe it. Okay? And they're all part of Survival Trek Escape, my television show. So we are down to our 3.5-minute mark of our show. And I just wanted to take one moment to put out an advertising for the song Never Quit for Survival Trek Escape by Mars Homeworld. He's a good friend of mine, and I just want to give him some really decent promo. So here's his song. We'll end the show with this and then close out with what's left of time with America's Survival Son. Thanks for joining, and I hope you learned something about firecrafting today. Thank you. Alright, and this is America's Survival Son by Bruce John Dickinson and Frank Knight. Bruce John Dickinson is from Little Angels, and Frank Knight is from the band Knighthood. And they made this song especially for me. We'll close out the last minute of this show broadcast with that song. Thank you for listening to Survival Trek Escape Talk Radio.
Shrigley, America's survival song. Danielle, Shrigley, America's survival song. Danielle, Shrigley, surviving against the odds. Daniel, Shrigley, America's survival song. America's survival song. America's survival song. America's survival son. Survive this.
Don't forget to visit www.survivalextreme.net or visit meetup.com/Bell-County-Wilderness Survival Group.